Hi, and welcome to today's reading. Today's reading is the 16th reading that I have done as part of a collection of readings that I am doing, tapping into the divine feminine energy that as a collective we are all tapping into currently as we head into the North Node changing into Pisces in January next year. Now, the North Node currently is in Aries. Aries is putting yourself first, removing, because the South Node is in Libra, so that's the relationships, the people in and around you, removing the things in your life that are holding you back from your spiritual path. Pisces, the North Node going into Pisces in January, Pisces is spirituality, it is your beliefs. So removing anybody in your life that are creating boundaries or stopping you from moving forward on your spiritual path. Now, the 16 readings now, once this one goes up, a selection of all different divine feminine energies. Now, you don't have to be male or female. Divine feminine energy is an energy that we all hold within. We also hold divine masculine energy, and currently we are in heavy masculine, divine masculine energy. And as I said, this change of the nodes in January brings in this focus, internal focus on divine feminine energy. If you think of the divine masculine as a tarot card, it would be the Emperor. Emperor is Aries. And as I said, we're currently in the North Node, which is our point of destiny, is currently in Aries. Aries is driven, it's 3D, it's practical, tangible. I want to say what you can touch and feel, energy. Divine feminine energy, which is the Empress card, which is Venus and Taurus, is nurturing. It's intuition. And what the divine is trying to do is balance out the two. You've got to have a healthy mix, a balanced mix of the two. So the energy that I'm picking up on today is of a divine feminine called Perpetua. Now, she's known as the Saint of Authenticity. And her story is from the 3rd century, where the area where she lived was ruled by a Roman emperor. She lived, I think, in the north of Africa, ruled by a Roman emperor who forbade anybody from converting to Christianity or Judaism. And she went against that order and was arrested and put in prison. And one of the things that she did while she was there was she kept a journal. And it was a journal about remaining authentic to herself, even through adversity. One of the things that she said was, if that's a pot, how can you ask it to be anything else other than what it is? Meaning, how can I be anything other than my authentic self? So if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. A bit about me first. I'm an intuitive tarot reader. I pick up on energy prior to a reading. Beautiful drizzly rain today. A real sense of, actually it's been raining the last couple of days, this sense of cleansing out what is no longer authentic to you. And whether it be things, whether it be like physical things, possessions, whether it's gaining mental clarity in order to align yourself authentically with yourself, or whether it's actually people in your life. Now, it's the 10-10 portal today, which is a rebalancing of the enemies. Nothing is said without a reason. I said the rebalancing of enemies. Maybe you've recognized the people in your life that are preventing you from being your authentic self. But I said a realigning. Why would you realign with an enemy? It's a realigning for you of you with your authentic self. I'm going to park that thought because it may come back through. Now, all of the decks that I use on my channel are my own designs because I'm also an illustrator. So if you call to any of those decks, the links to them can be found in the description box. So I've done a pre-shuffle. And actually, The pre-shuffle on the cards I did last night, and I've come back to sit down this morning because I just wanted to sit in the energy for a little bit. This morning I've done some baking, and I was baking for one of my kids who's going to a multicultural night, and they have to take food. And so I was reading this recipe from a different country, a different culture. When you think of Perpetua, she was changing religions. And I was trying to stick to the recipe so that it was authentic. That again, that theme of authenticity. This rain, I don't know if you can hear it. It's a clearing away. Now, the reason I shuffled my cards and everything, got everything ready for this reading last night, was because I planned to get up really early this morning and do some readings before we went to this event with this food this afternoon. It's since been cancelled. Something here about cancelled plans. Again, I'm going to park that. So these are the cards that came out in the pre-shuffle, which I did do this morning. We've got the Page of Cups, which is the moon in Pisces. Again, Pisces is where we are headed in January. Pisces is your spirituality, your beliefs. The moon is fear. The moon is what's hidden. The moon is also emotions. That little bird is actually looking into a cup, looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, am I being my authentic self? We've got the Star card, which is Aquarius. The Star card can also be a healing journey that you're on, getting back to your authentic self. But the Star, I always think of the North Star, your destined path. And for Perpetua, her destined path towards her authenticity put her in jail. But what I'm picking up here is there's a big change. I mean, a change in religion is a big change. For me, a recipe from another country is something that I've not cooked before. It's a risk, I want to say. But it's part of your destined path. And then the last card that came out was third party. Now that's somebody outside of you. For Perpetua, it was the Emperor at the time. Somebody outside of you trying to dictate who you are, how you want to portray yourself. Okay, I'm going to pull some cards. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at where you are and then where you're going. Now, if you haven't watched any of those other readings, part of this divine feminine journey is that there are all different aspects of the divine feminine energy that we are able to tap into. So all of the different divine feminine energies that I've picked up through those readings may resonate with you. In some aspects, you might be on a journey within your journey in one particular divine feminine energy, and once you've passed through that phase of that journey, you then switch into the next phase. This reading for me is about being your authentic self and standing in your power, no matter what the cost is to you. Okay, let's have a look and see what angel is walking with you on this particular part of your divine feminine journey. Number 17 is the Star. 1 and 7 is 8. Now we've just gone through the 888 portal, a huge, big portal that only happens every 9 years, every other year. So the 888 portal this year was the 8th of the 8th, 2024. So the 8th of August, 2024, because 2024 adds up to an 8. But in every other year, the year hasn't added up to an 8. So it's only been the 888 portal. The last time it was the 888 portal, it was 2015. Potentially this journey for you started back or was activated by the 2015 888 portal. Now we've got 29, which is number 11, Liberation and Defender of Spiritual Truth. I love cards. This is, even though Perpetua was in prison, or imprisoned for refusing to be anything other than her authentic self, she was liberated because she defended her spiritual truth. It reminds me of that line from Braveheart. You can take away our land, but you can't take away our freedom. She was physically confined, but spiritually free. And this is beautiful because this particular card, or this particular angel, aligns in other tarot decks, not in mine, but in other tarot decks. It aligns with the Seven of Wands, which is a card of defending your spiritual truth. Now, it's also an angel that protects people who write. And what did Perpetua do while she was in the prison? She kept a diary of her thoughts. Really, really lovely. So if you are resonating with this reading, you may be in a situation where you are being physically held, but your mind is free because you are staying true to your authentic self. And I'm picking up the smell of, actually it was one of the things I was making this morning, and I think it's on my hands, like caramelly buttery smell. That might have some significance because it's literally, I've been sitting here for a while and I've only just, it's almost like a buttery popcorn smell. And if you think of popcorn, confined in that little corn kernel, and then when it's heated up, it expands into its true self. You may have been feeling the heat and potentially from this third party energy, but I think what's happened here is it's allowed you to really stand in your power. Okay, let's find out where you are at the moment. The Six of Wands. That's Jupiter in Leo. Victory after a long battle. In the original drawing of the Six of Wands in the Rider-Waite Tarot, it's a guy who goes away to war and everybody thinks he's died. But then he rides back into town on a horse. Potentially this third party, and if you think of Perpetua, asserts an authority by physically putting you in a prison, thinking that it will stop you from doing the thing that they don't want you to do. But in actual fact, it empowers you. And you ride back in town. Think of popcorn. You put it in a pot and heat it up. And it expands. That's Jupiter. That's Jupiter in Leo. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Jupiter is the wheel of fortune in the tarot. 777. Things expand. And in this instance, it's your authentic self, because you've been put in a position where you have to stand in your spiritual power, this beautiful divine feminine energy. Let's see what else is going on for you. Three of Swords. Three of Swords is Saturn and Libra. Saturn is a karmic lesson and Libra is balance. So in this instance, now the Three of Swords is heartache. I mean, obviously, somebody putting you in, putting the heat on you in a situation in order to dominate you. So what a third party, somebody who doesn't want you to step into your spiritual power, into your authenticity, does that by stepping into divine masculine energy, that overpowering energy. But if you look at the back of that card, the cherry blossom is still growing, quietly growing in strength, which is what she did when she was put in the prison. Almost like they say, I'll teach you a lesson, and then she comes back with, I'll show you a spiritual lesson. And maybe you then are the catalyst for somebody who, for change in somebody who tries to restrict you, I want to say. But the Three of Swords is Saturn and Libra. Libra is balance. And in that instance, you get the divine feminine energy because you tap into your divine feminine authenticity, but you balance it out because of whatever heartbreak this is that this person or people have done to you, because you team it up with your divine masculine energy by standing in your power. So it brings a balance of the divine feminine and divine masculine energy into you, which in turn then, and I'm thinking of the Three of Pentacles, that connection between the balance of your divine feminine, divine masculine, and God, or the divine, whoever you see as your higher power. The Ace of Wands, a divine blessing that you get from the divine, Aries, Leo, Sag. And I want to say Aaron's rod. In the traditional drawing of the tarot, Aaron, who was Moses's brother, had a big staff that he walked with. And that particular staff was actually put into the Ark of the Covenant. But its symbol in the tarot is the Ace of Wands. I'm getting lots of downloads. So the reason Aaron was important in that story was Moses had a speech impediment. He actually had a stutter. And so God actually asked Aaron in some instances to speak on Moses' behalf. An essence of this reading, this energy that's coming through, where somebody actually may have taken away, they may not have put you physically in prison, but they may have taken away your ability to speak, or your ability to speak on how you wanted to be your authentic self. In this instance, you could have had a third party who was part of this journey that you were on. Now, Perpetua was actually imprisoned with her maid who was pregnant. Somebody else that is part of the journey that you're meant to be on, helping you speak your authentic truth. But in this case, Aaron spoke for Moses, but Moses's long-lasting spiritual gift was the 10 Commandments, what he actually wrote. Perpetua's spiritual gift was the writings that she wrote in that diary. Perhaps, and I've just got another download, perhaps you can't physically speak about your authenticity or about who you are in your authentic self. So you've had to use another medium in order to impart that message. Now, the download that I just got, and I can reference it to me. Have a look where your Mercury is in your chart. And what I want you to have a look at when you look at your birth chart is, does it have a little R beside it? Because if it does, it means that you were born in a Mercury retrograde. Now, Mercury is the planet of communication, which means that if you have a Mercury retrograde in your chart, 9 times out of 10, there is a stumbling block in regards to your ability to communicate. And so you have to find another way. If I use me as an example, took me 18 months to get up the courage to actually post readings to YouTube. I opened my account. I used my illustrative skills to communicate my thoughts through pictures, but verbally, I couldn't speak. And if you go back and listen to some of my first readings, you will see the difference between now and 8 months ago when I started posting readings. I'm comfortable. I am in my authentic, true self. But that stems all the way back, to school. I would get up and I would do a presentation in the class as part of an assessment. And I'd go to open my mouth and I'd just burst into tears. But it's really important. Have a look. If this reading is resonating with you, have a look at why potentially, if that is something that you have as well, have a look at where Mercury is in your chart, the house it's in, the sign it's in, because that may give you a bit more of an understanding as to the things that you need to speak on first and foremost. But if it's in retrograde and you're having trouble speaking on them, potentially you've got a soul contract with somebody in your life who physically keeps you silent, is oppressive, or it can even be somebody who undermines your ability to think that you have enough self-worth and self-power to be your authentic self. Ace of Wands. Interesting. Now those little sprouts on that card, when Aaron's rod was put inside the Ark of the Covenant, it was literally just a dead tree, or what they thought was a dead tree. He was using it as a walking stick. Obviously, they walked a long way. But when the Ark of the Covenant was opened up, it had sprouted these little almond shoots, which it shouldn't have done. It was sealed. There's something you're growing internally in the darkness, something that's sprouting, something about your authentic self. And that Six of Wands, they thought he died, and then he rolled back into town in his power. The Magician. The Magician is Mercury. Mercury is communication. That's number one. Oftentimes, the Magician, all the tools that you need. In this case, everything you need is within, and it doesn't matter where you are, what imprisons you. Go back to that Braveheart. You can take away my land, but you can't take away my freedom. There's freedom in your mind, standing in your power. When I drew that card, it's obviously a bird's nest. Now, this particular deck is the Lovebirds Tarot deck. And obviously, this is not a love reading. Well, it's a love reading to yourself. But eventually, or perhaps, this is a nest that you were building in, and you've recognized that what you are building in needs to change. And it's stopped raining now. What you are building in needs to change. And like a bowerbird, you start collecting all the things that you need in order to build this new home. A new spiritual home for yourself is what I want to say. I've been watching the updates on Hurricane Milton in America, and all of those people who less than a week ago had floodwaters come through their house, and they've pulled everything of their house from their house that was wet and pulled it out on the streets with the intention that, the council was coming through and picking it all up and taking it away. Almost a rebuilding. One particular story, and stories always pop up for a reason, and I don't understand them at the time, but obviously they then come through in readings. One particular story, this lady had lost everything, and the reporters were asking her, she was madly on her front lawn. She literally had piles of stuff everywhere. Her whole life was on her front lawn. And they had been given this evacuation order to leave. Essentially, if you stayed, you're going to die. And she was madly trying to find one thing. And she said, I don't care about anything else. I'm looking for my mother's wedding ring. Through all of this mud-laden, wet, sodden stuff. What you're looking for authentically what you're looking for is something precious. None of the rest of it matters. It doesn't matter if you've got nothing else in the nest. Like I said, it's been raining here for days. That hurricane, there's a massive, big clearing out, a cleansing happening on a collective scale. The Magician. And all those people moving home, I think there's 20 million people have been told to evacuate. I think of a hermit crab. And there's a David Attenborough, and I'll see if I can find it and I'll link it. There's a David Attenborough show where he looks at these hermit crabs that all arrive on the beach at the same time. And there's all different sized shells all around the beach. And basically, when they've outgrown one shell, they have to go and find a shell that's bigger. And so there's this little procession of, crabs leaving one shell and then moving into the next, moving into the next. This is a time for you. You've outgrown where you are and you're moving on to the new, but it doesn't matter. It's not about the physical. The physical dwelling, the physical shell, the physical house that you're living in. Perpetua in a prison. It didn't matter where she was because she was growing spiritually. That's what was authentic. And on the bottom again, the star. That's the star twice. A destined change in your life. Okay, let's have a look at, now that's not meant to be there. That always happens for a reason. The truth will set you free. Liberation and defender of spiritual truth. If you haven't already, and you are feeling like you are a prisoner, the Magician is also the illusion. If you think of a magician, it's an illusionist. He's an illusionist. He's a trickster. If you're feeling bound, if you're feeling trapped, it's an illusion. Because you can never be trapped in your mind. Or you're the only person that can trap you in your mind. And it's not stepping into your authenticity that will keep you trapped. Two of Pentacles on the bottom. Two of Pentacles is Mars in Capricorn. Now let's have a look at where you're headed once you break free from this prison. The Magician again. That's illusion. That's personal power. That's you being the magician in your own life. You can take away our land, but you can't take away our freedom. And I think of, for example, the people in Gaza lost everything, but they are standing in their spiritual, authentic truth. All of them. And even Gaza itself. I mean, it's been called the biggest man-made prison in the world. Trapped. They were trapped. But spiritually they weren't. The Magician. What else have we got? Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is Mars in Pisces. Again, Pisces, spirituality, your beliefs. Standing in your spiritual truth. Knowing that even when you have nothing, you have everything. Devil. Devil is Saturn. The devil is karma. This morning when I was baking, I kept hearing the devil at the gate. Even when the devil has locked you in. If you think of a prison, has locked you in, thinking that they can keep you trapped. You can't, because you're the magician. Yeah. Divine blessing. Now, divine masculine energy, Ace of Pentacles. as I said, very 3D. But from a spiritual perspective, spiritual health is the new wealth. Your power lies in your spiritual health, your spiritual authenticity. As I said, you know, these people in Gaza, how many have been killed? Well, more than what they say. 44,000 on the books, but they suspect with all the bodies under the rubble, it's well in excess of 120,000. Complete families wiped out. So nobody's looking for them. So they can't be registered as missing. Spiritual power. Ace of Pentacles is also a divine blessing. And the Four of Pentacles on the bottom, which is the Sun in Capricorn. So with the Sun in Capricorn, we've got the Tower, which is Mars, we've got the Sun, and then we've got the Four of Cups. This is this devil energy, and as I said, devil energy and divine masculine, out of balance divine masculine energy, this third party, thinking that they can stop you from stepping into your authentic spiritual divine feminine energy by holding on to you, the Four of Pentacles, by keeping you in fear, by trapping you or removing everything from you. The Tower is stripping back, stripping away from you your ability to speak, your ability to move forward, your ability to be your authentic self. If they remove it from you, if they bring the heat onto you, that it will bring enough fear, or if they take away enough of what they think, divine masculine, the physical things that keep you trapped, that's what can hold you. And you'll be disappointed. The Four of Cups, you'll be disappointed enough that you will take a step back from standing in your authenticity. It's almost like, now the Lovers underneath. The Lovers used to be called the Choice card. This is somebody through physical means, and as I said, imprisonment of your mind physically. They can take away your ability to choose. The Lovers used to be called the Choice card. But in actual fact, the reverse happens. It allows you to turn away from the things that no longer authentically align with you. No thanks, I don't want that cup. You're bringing the Tower down on me, instead of evoking fear, has actually made me more aligned. It's given me the confidence and the extra enlightenment that what I'm actually doing by standing in my authentic truth is actually in more alignment with who I am and my spiritual journey. What's that saying? By holding you back, they've actually pushed you closer to who you are, is what I want to say. Okay, the truth will set you free. The Three of Wands on the bottom, the Sun in Aries. Aries, the Sun. The Three of Wands is all of your ships coming in. Something that you've been working towards, starting to come into fruition. And it's through this, whatever this interaction is with this person or these people, this devil energy. Let's see, what if anything, your guides want to tell you through these cards about this situation. Yeah, six of wands. We're getting doubles. The star. Destined for you to have this interaction with these people, and destined for you to work your way through it. Work your way through illusion to stand in your power. Oh, look at that on the bottom. Star on the bottom again. 3 stars. Number 3 might be significant. As I said, it's that, and we've got the 8 of Wands. That is communication. The 2 of Pentacles, juggling. The 8 of Wands is Mercury in Sagittarius. And the 2 of Pentacles is Mars in Capricorn. One more, and then I'm going to, King of Swords. Standing in your truth. Now, I said that was Mars in Capricorn. It's actually not. It's Jupiter in Capricorn. You're turning the wheel by standing in your truth. And look at that, Temperance. And I had a conversation with my dog this morning. I was baking. And I had to stand at the stove and stir and stir and stir and stir and stir. And I couldn't walk away because otherwise it would have all clumped up and ruined. To stand there for 20 minutes. And he was stood at the edge of the kitchen trying to get my attention. He'd already had breakfast, but he wanted more food. And he was getting quite cranky because I was basically telling him that he had to wait. And I said to him, you need to learn the art of temperance. The art of temperance is a balanced energy. It is all good things come to those who wait. And I think he got it because he sat down and then he laid down with a bit of a huff. Something happening here, and we've got justice. Yeah, look at that. I love cards. Balance. Something balancing out. The 4 of Swords is waiting. It's this 3 of Swords, which is heartbreak, but it's the pause after the heartbreak when the spiritual journey almost begins. If you think of Perpetua being stripped of everything she owned, that tower coming down and being put in prison. And then starting that writing process. The High Priestess is divine feminine energy. That was the first reading. When I started doing these readings, the High Priestess card was coming out. The High Priestess is intuition. It's a quiet. Divine feminine energy is quiet. It's a watch and wait. It's a drawing in information. It's listen and silent are spelt using the same letters. And what it brings is rebirth, the Death card, a new beginning for you as part of stepping into your authentic energy. The Temperance card, a balance, a truth. Okay, this is my Divine Messages deck. What messages do your guides have for you? Ooh, a yes. Healing and transformation. Breaking generational curses. Perhaps you're the black sheep of your family. Maybe stepping in, and you could be changing religions. Changing up something in your life where it's not really going down well with people around you. If you think of Perpetua, anybody who changed to, or not changed, because I don't know if she was a religion in the beginning. Anybody who converted to Christianity or Judaism was put in prison. Some sort of, you're bucking the system is what I'm getting. Breaking generational curses. But if it's not sitting, whatever you're in, if it's not sitting with who you are authentically, then you can't stay there. Because that in itself is trapped. At least for her, she was physically trapped in the prison, but she was spiritually free. If she had of reneged and stepped back and not converted, she would have been physically free, but spiritually trapped. One more. Expansion, that's Jupiter. Toxicity. It's making the decision about where you want to be trapped. That's what it is. Where do we have? Here. Jupiter and Capricorn. Where do you want to be trapped? A prisoner of your own mind or a prisoner physically of somebody else? Okay, let's get you an angel card. That was fast. 27. That's a 9. Yeratel, peace and justice. That's where you're headed. And Gabriel, divine messages and revelations. Now, Gabriel was the angel that appeared to Mary. Okay, apologies. I actually got interrupted in this reading. But what I was saying was Gabriel was a messenger to Mary. Told her. Now, Mother Mary, the Virgin Mary, has been coming through in many of the readings because the Virgin Mary, for me, is the ultimate divine feminine. But Gabriel brought a message to her that she was to have a baby, and she was to do it on her own. She had to retreat and birth that baby on her own. If you think about Perpetua in that prison on her own, something about having to rely on yourself, to trust your inner divine feminine, to trust your inner intuition. And listen to that rain. No matter what is happening around you, no matter what storm is happening around you, just heard whatever storm is raging around you. And look at that. Peace and justice. The rain has stopped. It's almost like stepping into your authenticity stops the rain because you're free spiritually. And whilst I was called away, I was thinking of that movie, The Shawshank Redemption. He eventually freed himself. Now, Gabriel is the moon. That angel equates to the moon. What's hidden? You're hidden away. Learning to be your authentic self. I heard the spiritual timeout. And this particular angel is the Page of Wands, which is Saturn in Sagittarius. This particular angel also governs over people who excel in literature, publishing, reading, writing. As I said, Perpetua couldn't speak her truth because she was in prison. So she kept a diary. She wrote about it. Moses had trouble speaking, but he was very precise in what he wrote down in the 10 Commandments. Even in Islam, Prophet Muhammad couldn't read or write, and he was visited by Gabriel, and he wrote the Quran from the information that was given to him by Angel Gabriel. There's a connection here between this Mercury energy, the magician, how you communicate, your authenticity about your spiritual journey, about how you're tapping into your divine feminine energy. And there's some sort of obstacle at play. And as I said, whether it's that you are physically imprisoned or whether you are imprisoned by, being born with a Mercury retrograde. But overcoming that obstacle, because you make the decision to stand in your authenticity, is what actually aligns you spiritually and brings in balance. Balance, the Temperance Angel. The Page of Wands here. Now that angel governs over literature. Maybe something about books. Definitely something about the Ark of the Covenant. Number 11 is the number of individuality. It's the need to embrace your individuality and to be true to your authentic self. Number 11. Number 9. Number 9 is completion. It's a preparation for a new beginning. Now, the Page of Wands is the card of the explorer. Okay, let's get you a moon oracle. Unleash the serene vibes of the disseminating moon and take a big, relaxing breath. Whatever you feel like is holding you is not actually holding you, because you are free in your authenticity. What have you been working on? This is my nodes of destiny deck. The South Node in the 12th house. The 12th house is spirituality. The 12th house is Pisces. So your spiritual beliefs. The 12th house is also the house of prisoners. And the 12th house is ruled by Neptune. And I'm just going to double check that because I want to say Jupiter as well, but it's 1:11 on the clock. And I should have just trusted my instincts. The 12th house is ruled by Neptune, sometimes called the house of the unconscious, and is ruled by Pisces and the planets Jupiter and Neptune. I was right. So Jupiter is expansion. If your South Node is kicking back in the 12th house, you might have been the maestro of playing the victim, allowing others to walk all over you. But guess what? Forgiveness, my friend, is the magic potion for seizing control of your fate. It's time to ditch the cozy nest of the past to embrace your inner eagle and rule the skies. So that suggests to me the South Node is where you were in a past life. So if your South Node was in the 12th house in a past life, you potentially were running through similar themes of imprisonment, of being walked all over by other people because they kept you trapped. So you come into this life with that karma, and part of your karmic journey in this life is to release that South Node karma from your past life and step into your power by breaking free of whatever is keeping you prisoner in this life. And in this instance, it's your ability to tap into your divine feminine energy. And perhaps it is, Neptune going down to the depths. So Pisces is spirituality. 12th house is prisoners. Neptune is going down to the depths, going down to the spiritual depths and expanding your consciousness through that intuition, through that authenticity, through that tapping in of your spiritual divine feminine essence in order to set yourself free. Or even to get that understanding that even if you're physically trapped, you are mentally free. Braveheart. They can take away our land, but they can't take away our freedom. That song from Twilight, Flightless Bird. Trapped in a cage, but you're actually not. North Node in Scorpio. Scorpio is the 8th house. Under the cosmic influence of the North Node in Scorpio, it's time to Marie Kondo our lives, bid farewell to those outdated patterns, toxic ties, and emotional baggage. By decluttering our metaphorical closets, we pave the path for some serious glow up and transformation. Now, I can attune to this, and this came through in the reading, the most recent reading that I've posted in this playlist. My North Node is in Scorpio. I am Christian, I am Catholic. Tarot is taboo, always. I'm nearly 50. Never interested in it whatsoever. But as part of the most recent spiritual journey that I have been on, I started listening. I stumbled across tarot readings and started listening and realized that tarot actually, because I was guided to specific readers, tarot actually helped me through tapping into my authentic self. And as I listened to the readings, I would just sit there and doodle, draw. And all of those drawings became huge, big artworks, I sat for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours listening and drawing, and they became these huge, big artworks, which then graced my home, but now grace the covers of all of my tarot decks. Those images, these drawings are literally my spiritual journey on a tarot deck. My North Node is in Scorpio. Scorpio is death and rebirth. Part of holding back, opening this channel was stepping out of that fear or that preceded notion that something that doesn't align with somebody else on a spiritual level, Catholic, Christian level, doesn't mean that it's not for me. Now, nobody told me that I couldn't or that I shouldn't, but it was something that I had trapped myself in. And now that I've stepped into my authentic self, my authentic power, I sit here and I don't have that urge to burst into tears before I start talking. And I'm not even following a script. Things are just coming out of my mouth because I've stepped into my authentic self, as opposed to being bound by the rigid confines of how I was meant to practice my faith, my connection to God. And I will tell you now that I am closer in faith, closer in my connection to God than I have ever been in the last 50 years. And it's through stepping into my authentic self, my authentic power, and I feel free. Have a look where your South and North Node is. It may give you some insight into what you need to step into and what you need to walk away from. Next year, the nodes actually stay in a sign for 18 months. So currently they're in Aries. Aries is self, and the axis of that, so the North Node is in Aries, the South Node, which is what you are releasing, karma from previous lifetimes, the South Node is in Libra, which is relationships that are holding you back, or the judgments of other people that are holding you back, or the fear of judgment of other people that's holding you back. Next year, in January, the North Node goes into Pisces, which is spirituality, your beliefs. And the South Node goes into Virgo, which is practicality and this balance between spirituality and practicality. 3D and 5D. What you can touch and feel. Wow, what you can touch as opposed to what you can feel intuitively. And I mentioned this in another reading. There's a big comet, not a comet, no, there is a comet coming through. 80,000 year orbit, this comet that's coming through. But there's an asteroid. So for the next 2 months through until the end of November, we've got this, what they're calling the second moon in the sky. It's an asteroid about 10 meters long that's coming in and around the Earth in a big horseshoe. Think of horseshoe as luck, expansion. big horseshoe around the Earth, comes into the orbit and then back out again. Now the markings on the side of this particular asteroid are two circles joined together, almost like you see the Olympic rings joined together. And in sacred geometry, that is the dance between spirituality and practicality, which is a spiritual awakening, which is where we are headed in January next year for 18 months as part of this spiritual awakening, as part of this tapping into this divine feminine energy. The other thing that's on the side of the comet is it's got a comet. I keep saying comet. There's something about that comet. The other thing that's on the side of the asteroid is 3 circles, and 2 of them have dots inside them. And I'll find the picture because it's the easiest way. That asteroid, 3 circles of enlightenment: asleep, awake, and awakening. And that's what's on the asteroid. There's also, that's the 2 circles. There's also a fish on there. The symbol of Pisces in astrology is the fish. The fish is also the divine. The comet that's coming through, and maybe why. Maybe it's of relevance to you. Shawshank, I think it's called. It was named after an observatory in China when they first found it. And the translation of that word is purple mountain. An obstacle that you've got to get over in order to tap into this divine feminine energy. The color purple spiritually is enlightenment. It's associated with the crown chakra, which is the most spiritual of all the chakras. Spirituality, consciousness, enlightenment. It's a connection to our higher self and to the divine. So the fact that that is coming through as well, all these beautiful big symbols in the sky, and maybe through this process of feeling trapped, feeling imprisoned, feeling stuck, feeling like you're not going to make it to the top of the mountain, you have been getting messages that are keeping you aligned on this journey, keeping you on your path of authenticity, so that you can have Scorpio, death and rebirth. This new beginning in your authentic self. Let's have a look. This is my song deck. A song that represents this journey that you are on. Because you love me. You were my strength when I was weak. You were my voice when I couldn't speak. You were my eyes when I couldn't see. You saw the best there was in me. Lifted me up when I couldn't reach. You gave me faith because you believed. I'm everything I am because you love me. Now, that could be a song to yourself, but it also could be a song to somebody who has walked with you on this spiritual journey, giving you encouragement. It could also be in reference to, for example, Perpetua converted. My ears are ringing, both of them. Also, my right ear is ringing. Perpetua was on a spiritual journey. She converted to Christianity. You were my strength when I was weak. Connection that she had to her faith. And on the bottom, Annie's song, John Denver. You fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. You're actually filling your own cup. This is really beautiful. I'm just looking at this key here. Your authentic self, you actually hold the key to your freedom. Through this realization that being free in your mind and free in your mind to be your authentic self holds more power than somebody trying to physically keep you restrained. And like I said before about that Mercury, Mercury retrograde. Perhaps something in your past life, some sort of karma that you carried over from a past life where you couldn't use your voice. And that's what kept you stuck. And so now in this lifetime, part of the mountain that you have to climb is to blow through that karma so that you can free yourself. Okay, this is my love messages deck. Now, obviously, this isn't a love reading, but I want to take messages from your higher self. I'm just going to get 3. You make me feel alive. Freeing yourself, that's what that is. Being your authentic self is what makes you feel alive. Soul awakening. And one more. I wish we could be together now. That's your higher self longing for the freedom of you stepping into your authentic self. It's almost like a balancing out of this masculine and feminine energy. I think I have just lost it all. And potentially for those still stuck in that mindset, a fear that you're never going to be free. A fear that the star is your fate, that your fate is to be stuck. But it's when you come into that understanding that physically free and mentally free are actually very different things. Okay, let's get you some Scrabble tiles. Let's see what other messages we can pull through. So we've got a Y and a 4, a K and a 5, a U and a 1, an M and a 3, a D and a 2, an N and a 1, a Q and a 10, an X, maybe an X. Now, I know we're missing a B. Maybe somebody has mentally kept you trapped by saying that you can't have what it is that you desire, that you're not deserving of it maybe. An L and a 1, a C, a B and a 3. Now we do have, and an E. But what did I say before? Jupiter is luck. You are the person with the key, and you can change that word into that word by putting the power into yourself. Okay, I'm going to get you 3 final cards. See if Spirit has anything else to tell you. The Hermit is a spiritual awakening. The Hermit is number 9. The Hermit is Virgo energy. So it is divine feminine. Virgo for me is Mother Mary. The 9 of Pentacles is my Mother Mary card. It is going within. As I said, she's the ultimate divine feminine for me. Virgo is the Hermit. It's a spiritual journey that you go on. Tapping in to realize that you are the light in the dark. The Hermit is Chiron. So that's the wounded healer. Healing yourself, stepping into your authentic energy. In that particular deck, the Hermit card is God, the 4 of Wands. A new spiritual journey that you are on. Yeah, the end of the cycle. Did we have completion somewhere? No, we didn't. The World is Saturn energy. Saturn is the last card in the tarot, a new journey that you're on. The 4 of Wands is Venus in Aries, putting that love back into yourself. The 8 of Swords is a current placement at the moment, Jupiter in Gemini, and that's here through until June 2025. Now, Jupiter in Gemini is being trapped in your mind. It's the 8 of Swords. Now, that card was a big player in my 888 portal readings. I did a whole series of readings. I think there's 8 in total. And that card kept coming out. As I said, 2015 was the last time that 888 portal was there. And the Nine of Cups is wish fulfillment. The Nine of Cups is Jupiter in Pisces. A spiritual awakening. An expansion of your mind because you've tapped into your authentic energy. And the Three of Wands on the bottom. All your ships coming in. A freedom. Look at that. And the sun wanted to come out. Walking away from what doesn't serve you. Saturn in Pisces, currently a placement in the sky. Saturn is in retrograde. So it's a looking back at the spiritual journey that you are on and walking away because you had the enlightenment. You've had the enlightenment as to what's holding you back, what's keeping you trapped. And the Eight of Wands underneath. Communication, this conversation that you have with yourself, the recognition that you hold the key, and the Hierophant underneath. The Hierophant is big structures that keep you trapped. Now that card sometimes represents God, but also represents religions. You know, walking from one religion to another, walking away from something, cultural beliefs, religious beliefs, family beliefs, breaking generational curses in order to move towards something that is more aligned with who you are authentically. Walking away from it. Six of Cups is things from your past because you've had that spiritual enlightenment. Okay, I'm going to get one more and then I'm going to end this reading. Ten of Cups underneath. Mars in Pisces. We had that before, back in the beginning. It was this beautiful, big spiritual awakening, this spiritual abundance that you get because you step into your spiritual, divine, feminine power. Yeah, by speaking your truth. The Knight of Swords and the Hierophant again on the bottom. Part of a soul contract that you have with God in this lifetime. This, whatever journey this is that you are on, whatever you feel like you're being trapped in, it's part of a journey that you have to go on in order to set yourself free, in order to step into your authentic power, your authentic divine feminine energy. Oh, there's a crow just popped up onto my back fence. And this came through in a reading the other day. He popped up there in a reading the other day as well. He had a little red berry. And the reference came through, take the red pill. Now, I've not watched the Matrix movies in full. So when I was editing that reading, I actually looked up what take the red pill meant. And I knew that it was a reference to the Matrix movie, but I didn't know in what context. Now he's just popped back up on my fence again. So Morpheus says to Neo in that movie, do you want to take the red pill? Life will never be the same again. But by taking the red pill, you are taking a step into spiritual enlightenment, essentially. That crow's come into this reading. You're meant to take the red pill. There's potentially messages in the Matrix movies. So thank you so much for joining me. If this reading resonated with you, give it a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I upload a new reading. I do post regularly. If you are called to any of my tarot or oracle decks, the links to those can be found in the description box. Wishing you all the best on your spiritual journey, and I will see you again in another reading.